Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful day. It is a very, very beautiful day because, my friends, Balance Unlimited has returned to claim its rightful place at the top of the anime of the season debate. There is no contest anymore. Balance Unlimited is back. You may as well just hand it the crown at this point. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us once again to return to our weekly Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about the big return, Episode 3, The Sinews of War, Our Infinite Money. But hey, quick reminder, if you're new here, welcome. My name is JoJo. I talk about seasonal anime episode by episode, and you should maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe even ringing that bell if you're feeling particularly awesome. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I'm so happy that I watched this episode twice. I watched it twice. I'm stoked, dude. I can't even. I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. Like it's funny, right? Because when the OP kicked in, I was like, yes. Like I just felt it, right? I was like, yes, it's back. Oh, I can't wait. And I was all excited. My shipping heart was at a straight up like 11 out of 10 because I finally get to reship Daisuke and Haru, and being me, I'm kind of all about both of these dudes. Top tier husbandos in this show, and some top tier waifus too. Can't forget Daisuke's sister. Can't forget. But that said, is back. Okay, I'm so happy it's back, and it's funny too. So I watched this back twice, like I said, and both times when the ED hits and it's like, make things a little better, like once it gets to that part, I'm like, hell yeah, you did. Hell yeah, you did. Man, this, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great shows this season, and when I say anime of the season, I'm not counting sequels. I never do. I feel like counting sequels as anime of the season is almost unfair, because 9 times out of 10 the sequel's gonna win because it has more of your emotional tether, it's drawn you in a little bit more. So when I say anime of the season, I'm only talking about first seasons. And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of great first seasons, but if you bring back Balance Unlimited, this ain't even close. Balance Unlimited by a country mile, man. And even though I just said that, first season shows have a hard time competing with sequels because you're already so attached to that the characters and the world of that whatever particular sequel series it is, Balance Unlimited comes real close to competing with stuff like ReZero and Fruba to me. I like it that much. And it's only episode 3, for crying out loud. We only got 2 episodes from this show, and I'm already just overjoyed that it's back. I kinda can't believe it. And again, seen it twice, and both times I'm like, it's back. I can't believe it's back. It's back, man. I don't know what else to say. Now, as we tend to do around these parts, I'm gonna be talking about this thing moment by moment, scene by scene, dissecting my way through the episode, cutting through it like I'm cutting through cake, just slicing through each scene as we make our way through the greatness that is Balance Unlimited. And man, we start off strong. As the first scene, we are right away introduced to a brand new character, 2 new characters to be totally honest. And the one character, Hattori, we'll get to him. No, not Hattori Soma. That would be awesome. But no, a different Hattori. But we do get introduced to somebody who is also trying to make plays for Best Granny of the Season. Yes, indeed, we get introduced to Kikuko. And I love Granny Kikuko. I love Granny Kanbei already. Granny Kanbei is where it's at. Now, she is introduced pretty much immediately as Daisuke's grandmother, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I didn't see that one coming. That was fast. Well, not fast, but it's just sort of like, alright, so we're already getting his extended family. That's kind of intense. We already got his sister, so I thought that was already a lot. But no, we already get introduced to his grandmother, which is dope, okay, cool. So we're already sort of fleshing out this man's extended family in this man's world already fairly quickly. And Daisuke's like, okay, me and sis are here to see you, and I brought my new boyfriend. I know they're not dating, but I'm gonna pretend like they are. But yeah, I brought my new detective partner guy, Haru here, and we're just here to say hello. And again, Granny Kanbei, she's pretty great. She is immediately the solid traditional grandmother type archetype for a character, right? She's very sweet, she's respectable, she's kind, But she also takes no nonsense, which I like, right? Right away, she puts Daisuke in his place, and I'm shocked by this. Like, she says, like, Daisuke, like, you better be, like, on your best behavior, you know? Like, you better be treating Haru correctly, because I like this kid. So don't be acting like a jerk now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but, like, way more strict than I'm being. Like, she was not letting him get away with nothing. In fact, Granny's so strict, it even kind of scares Haru a bit, which is honestly kind of funny. She just said, like, when she just goes, Daisuke, like, it's with such sternness that even Haru's like, oh, shit. Like, I activated a demon. I'm sorry, I had no idea. And she even asks Haru to be a guide for Daisuke, which of course means Haru has found his brand new ally, and he is loving every second of this, right? Because of course the entire time that we've known these two, all 2 episodes, but still it feels like a lot longer, all 2 episodes, they have shown that Daisuke sort of doesn't really respect Haru as a senior, like, in their field, right? He's just sort of like, you're the guy I'm stuck with. I'm not your partner. I'm not learning from you. You just keep getting in my way. That seems to be the way that Daisuke views Haru, at least currently. And maybe, well, up until this episode. We'll get into it. But yeah, like, there's already a dynamic forming between them. But then it gets flipped on its head when Kikuko says, like, hey, please treat my boy well and guide my grandson and blah, blah, blah. And Daisuke, you better, like, respect him and, like, you better respect Haru and treat him well in turn. And Daisuke is forced to say, like, I look forward to working with you. And it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. Haru liked that. Like, Haru's like, nice. Mind you, like, eventually Daisuke does start to kind of get him back for that. Because Haru pushes his luck a little bit, like, when they're on the drive back, and Daisuke's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, I'll get you back. And he just floors the car, and Haru's like, Jesus, I'm sorry! Like, you can't drive that fast, you're gonna break the speed limit. And Daisuke's like, this is a private estate. And that's another thing I gotta point out, the estate is huge! Like Granny Kanbei lives on a huge estate. Like, they got money to spare. Like, I thought Daisuke was a self-made millionaire. This is not so. Like, my man must come from a wealthy-ass family, because if that's just Granny Kanbei's estate, holy shit, Kikuko is living large. But speaking of Granny Kanbei, before we start talking about the Butler Hattori, I thought it would be appropriate just for you if we talked a little bit about some character design, because traditionally Granny Kanbei, Kikuko looks kind of like your stock grandmother, but I think that that's the point. They really want to emphasize this sort of grandmotherly influence onto this character, especially to show that, like, there are people in Daisuke's life who can be considered relatively normal by most standards, right? Granny Kanbei is not like some rich hoity-toity jerk in the same way that Daisuke can be. And he's also not quite as she's also not quite detached like Kanbei, or like Daisuke can be. So yeah, Granny Kanbei is definitely to show, like, that there is some, like, parental figure in Daisuke's life. There is, like, some semblance of normalcy, and I think that they really bring that with this traditionally sort of, like, stock grandmother type of design. And if you want to dig a little bit into the colors, and again, man, it's been so long, can I please just praise the color design? Atsuta Sasaki's color design, like, not just on the characters, but even the backgrounds, are fantastic, and they blend so perfectly great with the character designs by Keigo Sasaki. I don't know if there's a relation there or not, but even, like, the character designs, as I said, are already, like, fantastic, and the choices for said color designs, or for said character designs, makes a lot of sense. I feel like the color design just all over the place, whether that's the background art, the character art, it's really, really on point. And if we were to look at Granny Kanbei's, like, color design, specifically, like, the colors on her kimono, they're sort of like light blue, almost teal, and a sort of light pink color. And it's honestly kind of appropriate. Like, the pink definitely indicates a sort of femininity, this sort of, like, but it's because it's light, it's a sort of light femininity to her, right? Like she is like the feminine influence, like the almost maternal influence in the room at that point. But it's also kind of to show like this sort of like maternal like guidance for characters like Daisuke, because again, Daisuke doesn't really seem like he had a lot of like parental guidance in his days. So like to have this character, especially with the colors chosen, like pink being again a particularly feminine color, but also denoting like love as well. So it can be a sort of maternal color, as well as the light blue, like showing off a sense of responsibility and security, given like what blue is typically associated with. Those two colors together really do sort of give you this sort of strict but caring type of grandmotherly character. And if you're new here, yes, I like to dig way too deep into colors and character designs and symbolism and stuff like that. Why? I don't know, it's fun. But hey, before we leave the scene, quickly want to talk about Hattori. We get introduced to another character while we're on Granny Kanbei's estate, that being the Butler Hattori. Now, when I saw him, I immediately assumed that this was the butler that we had been talking to for the last 2 episodes, right? And even Haru says the same thing, like, oh, that must be the butler you're always talking to. But he is immediately corrected by Daisuke's sister, who points out, like, no, like, that's just the butler here. You're talking about Husk, or as I will be calling him, Hugh. And Hugh is actually an AI program. I guess in hindsight, I should have seen that coming, and I feel dumb for assuming that Hattori was the butler. But when you introduce a butler, I'm going to assume, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it turns out that the butler that Daisuke has been talking to is an AI program named Husk, Heusc, pronounced Husk, but for the sake of nicknames being fun, I'm going to name him Hugh. So Hugh is like the AI program that Daisuke has that helps him out with all the, Balance Unlimited stuff. He's even the voice, like Balance Unlimited. That's Hugh. And it makes a lot more sense that Hugh is an AI program. It's very like movie, like MCU Jarvis, you know what I mean? Because Jarvis in the comics is an old man. He's just a straight up, Jarvis in the comic books is like a butler. I'm probably even showing him on screen because Jarvis don't get enough love. But in the movies, Jarvis is an AI, which makes sense for the movies. So yeah, and in the show, it makes sense. Yeah, like Hugh should be an AI program. It makes things a lot easier, and it's a little bit more plausible given like some of the crazy stuff that Daisuke is able to do. But Hattori himself is interesting, right? Because for a butler, he's quiet, which you expect, but he's also polite, which again you expect, right? But at the same time, there's this sort of standoffishness to him. Like he's quiet and polite, but not like in that sort of like, oh, I'm not speaking because it's not customary for me to speak without being spoken to or without being requested something, you know what I mean? Like butlers speak when spoken to, and butlers have a great deal of respect for people in the room. Butlers are the real MVPs. But here, Hattori, it's less like being quiet and polite for the sake of being a butler and more just the fact that he is sort of like not particularly interested in chatting. And as Granny Kanbei says herself, a direct quote, in fact, Hattori is rather unsociable, meddles in the garden all the time, and even says like she's not super sure if that's what a butler should even really be doing. So Hattori is seen to be like not the greatest butler in the world, but I find that interesting. And my man over here wearing like this sort of like business casual type of outfit. He's got on this sort of like navy house coat, this sort of like purple ascot with a loose button-up shirt, and his palette, especially by comparison to all the other characters in Balance Unlimited, his palette chosen is very like subdued, which is shocking given like the sort of like bright hues that we see in the other character designs. A lot of the character designs here really pop out. Whereas Hattori is more subdued, more sort of traditional, more quiet. And I find that kind of interesting. And it's only more like reserved by comparison to the other designs. Like if this were any other design, Hattori would look kind of cool, but because it's being compared to the other characters in Balance Unlimited, he does come across as more reserved, which again, I think is the point. His character is reserved, so his design should in turn be reserved. We spent all that time talking and we only got to the first part of the episode. I better start to hustle. My bad. Anyway, we begin the next scene. Basically, well, after the rockin' OP, unlimited. Anyway, the OP ends. We kick off the next scene with the train ride. Haru is basically sitting on a train that we find out later has to be coming back from Nagoya. At the very least, Haru is coming back from Nagoya. And as he's riding the train, he's sort of munching on some snacks. I didn't quite see what they were. But he overhears some, shall we say, middle-aged women getting very emotional and getting all giggly and excited, but also sort of sad over a concert. Apparently, there's this group in the world of Balance Unlimited called Yokoites. Yokoites, I believe that's the name. And Yokoites is supposedly breaking up. So they're putting on their final concert, and you can overhear these women getting really, really emotional and sad about it. And I'm specifically saying women because I didn't see a single dude there. Although in fairness, if I existed in this world, I would probably be with those ladies because the Yoko White lads, spoilers, we see them later. And yeah, I would probably be a fan too. But why are you bringing this up, JoJo? Why do we care about some ladies talking about some boy band? That doesn't seem important. It is. Everything is important. This is a crime show. Everything's important. Everything is a clue. Everything is a piece of the puzzle. But yeah, keep that in the back of your mind. Yoko White's middle-aged ladies going crazy over this boy band. Take that piece of evidence. Take that piece of information rather, and put that in the back of your skull. You'll need it for later. And so Haru is sort of his attention is drawn to the front of the car because they're on the train. So his attention's drawn to the foot of the train car, the front of the train car. And he then sort of glances to his right and he sees there's this kid who I will be referring to as Coconut Head because he kind of just reminded me of Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. And they don't give this boy a name. So Coconut Head it is. So Haru sort of notes Coconut Head, and he's like, all right. And he kind of hears the kid's stomach grumble, because the kid doesn't hear it. He's got his headphones in. But Haru hears it. So Haru being the bestest boy there ever done was, well, bestest man, my boy Haru is almost 30, I believe they say. God, relatable. But Haru basically says, hey kid, here, you may as well have this. I'm planning to eat on the next stop anyway, so I'm probably not gonna need it. And at first Coconut Head's nah, it's cool. Cause again, they're trying to show, this kid is respectful. He's a bit quiet, but he's respectful. But they're also trying to show, Haru is instinctive, he wants to take care of people. He is, at the end of the day, he is, a genuinely good dude. He's a good cop, he's a good guy. So when he hears this kid's stomach growling, he decides you know what, screw it, I'm gonna give you this. I'm probably just gonna eat when I get to the station right away. We don't actually see Haru make a break for the station at all, so I don't even know if maybe that was a lie. A part of me suspects maybe he was just saying that and he just wanted to make sure that the kid had some food because again, that's just kind of the dude that Haru was. But also, Haru doesn't even get the chance to go see if he can get himself some cup noodle anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Haru eventually gets the kid to share, to have some food with him. And the kid, eventually kind of reluctantly agrees. And we sort of cut, from the, we don't get to see the conversation between the two of them. But we know that there was a conversation because we see the food there on the table, and then the food's gone. And then we are told that the kid had failed his college entrance exams. So you know that the kid definitely has a lot on his mind. Coconut Head, he's dealing with a lot. Ned's survival guide did not help him get into his college of choice. So unfortunately, having failed the college entrance exam, he is obviously he's a little bit distraught. And Haru says that he can relate, saying that he also failed his first college entrance exams. So he knows that feeling. And Coconut Head eventually sort of thanks him and then puts his earbuds back in. And Haru's dude, what do you listen to? And Coconut Head just sort of responds oh, it's not music, it's an English conversation. And that's also going to be important. That's another piece of information. Put that in the back of your head. And Haru's oh, English, right? To prep for your, because you're in prep school now, right? So that's cool. Is that what it's for? he's like, no, I have to take my younger sister to America, which is mostly true. That is definitely what he's doing. That is what the English is for. But again, take this piece of information, store that along with the other 2 pieces of information in the back of your dome piece. You'll need it for later. But yeah, so the 2 of them sort of form like a kinship, right? Haru just sort of feels bad for the kid. And as they're about to get off, the kid stands up to give Haru space to get off the train. And he accidentally bumps into one of the old ladies. Missed opportunity in my mind to make the old lady who he bumps into the old lady who's on the ground later. That would have made it seem like, oh, he got rid of her because he was mad, so like maybe he's not a good dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could have played a little bit with that. It's actually just some other girl from the crowd. Missed opportunity on that one, in my humble opinion. But yeah, so they show like this kid is sort of awkward. And Haru feels bad for him, so he actually gives him a gift. And this is the reason why I said that Haru had to be coming from Nagoya. It's also the reason why I said that I watched this twice, because I actually did more research for this one than I normally do, because it's the big Return of Balance Unlimited, and I want to make sure that I know every little piece of information that I can. And basically, he hands him a gift from the Atsuta Shrine, which is in Nagoya. And it's also, the shrine is also, just fun fact, where Amaterasu is enshrined and is the current home of Kusanagi. My pronunciation is on point, I know. It is also the home of Kusanagi, which is one of the swords of the 3 imperial regalia. It is the sword paired with the mirror and the jewel. And before anybody thinks like, damn, JoJo, you really know your stuff. I don't. I just looked up what those things were. I just Googled it, and I have to actually give credit to Japan Guide. That's the website I use to look all this stuff up. So I actually don't know what I'm talking about, but I wanted to sound like I did, so I shouldn't have told you that. But still, big ups to Japan Guide. Thanks for the info. I feel like I learned something today. But that's why I was saying that Haru had to be coming back to work from Nagoya. Now, what the hell Haru was doing in Nagoya, I do not know. But that's where he was, because otherwise how did he get the friggin' Atsuta Shrine like souvenir? Because he says like, this was meant to be a souvenir for my coworkers, but I'd rather you have it. And it's like, oh, that's sweet. Like, they got a kinship now. There's a bond there between them. Can't wait to see this thing get destroyed. Because spoilers, yeah, this relationship not gonna last long. But yeah, so that's I don't know. I like learning things, so I was like, oh, cool. I feel like I learned something today. But as Haru is leaving, Haru can't help but overhear that there's something going on. Again, if Haru was actually going to go for noodles or whatever he said he was going for, now I feel foolish. I didn't write down what he was going to eat. But if the man was actually not lying and was going to get some food, he doesn't even get a chance. Like, Haru is constantly on the clock, man. Even though he's not supposed to be. Like, he doesn't even work with the first division anymore. So he shouldn't technically be on the clock. Last I checked, he's part of Modern Crime Prevention Task Force, right? So does he really need to be doing the things he's doing? No. But does it make Haru the best? Absolutely, yes, because it shows that he cares. Like, he just genuinely cares. He wants to help. Even if he's not technically part of the first division, even if he's not technically meant to be doing all the things he's doing, since he's been demoted so low that he's hardly a detective at this point. Like, I get it, right? Like, so... Like, yeah, I don't know. You just feel Haru's need to help people in this scene. And you really feel that because, like, when he overhears over the PA, like, could everybody please leave the station? Like, there is an incident. Please leave the station. Haru immediately, like, runs to find a railway worker and is like, hey, what's going on? Like, flashes him the badge. And the railway worker explains, like, oh, there's, like, a potential hostage situation in one of the train cars. And Haru's like, oh, shit. And, like, he's just drops his bag, hops the guardrail and just says, like, watch that for me. And the poor railway worker's like, huh? What? You can't, what just happened? Like, and Haru just runs off. And it's funny too, because when Haru gets there, people seem genuinely more annoyed than concerned about the potential hostage situation. Even the hostages themselves seem more concerned than annoyed. The hostages, by the way, in question being the old ladies going to see that boy band, they are more concerned that they're gonna miss the concert than they are about potentially getting shot in the face. So, dedication to your band. Gotta say, those are some hardcore groupies right there. But yeah, Haru basically arrives. He makes it to the train car and asks yet again, like, okay, what's going on? And another railway worker explains, like, yeah, like there's some people on the train. We think it's a hostage situation, so we're kind of being very cautious about things. We're just trying to get everybody away. So kudos to the train station for handling that like pros. But Haru then attempts to walk in. And this is where things get a little bit tense. As Haru walks in to see that it's Coconut Head, who immediately Haru's like, oh shit, dude, it's me. Like, what's going on, man? Like Haru tries to say, like, hey, bud, like, what's the deal? Like, everything all right? And Coconut Head is seen, like, holding one of the hostages. He's got a gun, in air quotes, because you could pretty much tell. Like, like, you kind of, like, if you're smart, you kind of know where this episode's going. So he's got the gun to the one hostage's head, and he's like, I don't know you, man. Like, I don't know you, dude. Like, he's, like, because he does react. Like, he knows who Haru is. But he does sort of, like, try to pretend like he doesn't know him. Because he doesn't want anybody to know his identity, right? Like, he does actually want to get away with this to an extent. So he's like, I don't know you, man. Like, but as he's saying this, like, Haru notes, like, okay, so my man's got a spray can. He's got a taser. He used a bike lock to keep the one door shut, so that's going to be hard to get in unless you boot it down, which, spoilers, they end up booting it down. He's got a toy gun, and it seems as though he has a camera. That's peculiar. And when I say camera, I mean he has this, like, little rinky-dink, like, digital camera that you can get for, like, maybe, like, $200. I used to have one for vlogging back in the day. But this man is live streaming, not to YouTube, because, you know, nobody wants to get copyright striked by YouTube. But no, he is streaming on ShaneTube. Okay. But yeah, a kinkier side of YouTube. No, it's just the YouTube surrogate in this show. And we even see the feed from ShaneTube, you know. So we see, like, we note all of this, and the kid is very clearly, like, not hysterical, but he seems to be, like, putting on a performance almost, right? Like, he's definitely putting on an act. Like, he's trying his best to seem tough, intimidating, and maybe just a little bit crazy. But you could tell, like, it's not actual crazy. He's not hysterical. He's just trying to put on a show because he's on stream, right? And we're gonna find out why he's streaming in a second, but Haru sort of notes that he's streaming. He's like, okay, that's peculiar. But the kid says, like, you better leave, man. Like get the hell out of here. And Haru's like, all right, okay, cool. Haru doesn't question, you know, how this kid is streaming off that little rinky-dink camera, but, you know, he just walks out. Because, yeah, I have, as a YouTube guy, I have issue with that. I'm like, how the hell did he set that up on a train? What? But anyway, he leaves, and he bumps into the First Division. And the First Division are there to just be jackasses to him, and they dismiss him right away. Now, listen, I was giving Hoshino the benefit of the doubt the last two episodes, but this episode, my boy pushed too many buttons. He's very close to being nicknamed douchebag if he doesn't watch it. But why does the First Division dismiss my boy like a pack of jerks? Why? We get a flashback to tell us why. And, like, I get where Hoshino is coming from, except he's about to do the same thing in this episode that that he is mad that Haru does. So it's like, bruh, like, you're being a bit of a hypocrite. Hoshino is a hypocrite, like 100%, like 100%, as far as I'm concerned. I know that Hoshino probably has his fans already, because let's be real, we be simping for all the characters in this show. The characters, like, and I'm just not talking about the dudes before anybody gets like, well, what about, like, hell yeah, we simping all the characters in this. I'm still simping Yoko from episode 1, for crying out loud. But yeah, like, we like all the characters here, don't get me wrong. And so when I say that Hoshino be pushing my buttons, I respect and understand where Hoshino is coming from. It's just he's acting kind of like a hypocritical douche in this scene. And I hope Hoshino fans understand where I'm coming when I say that. Because, like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I hope you get where I'm coming from. It's just my opinion here. And the reason why I say that is because the flashback itself doesn't seem like I will admit I was shocked. I was surprised by what happens. Let's actually dig into it. instead of talking around it. So the actual flashback that kicks off after the first division tells Haru to take a hike, it shows Haru sort of leading the charge during a bank robbery. It's him and Hoshino watches Haru like leap across a building like a damn superhero, right? He like jumps across and he tucks and rolls and he sort of makes it to the bank, and Hoshino's like, holy crap, that was awesome. But this now means that Haru was basically charging into the bank on his own, right? So in fairness, Haru enters the bank, he's got his gun ready to go, just in case, and he sees the robber. So he readies the gun, he hops out, and he pegs the robber, boom, gets him right in the arm. And I'm like, nice, okay, so what's the big deal? He shot the guy in the arm, rightfully so, he was gonna kill people. Like, he had hostages, right? Like, rightfully so. Rightfully so, Haru shot that guy. Like, to me, at first, I'm thinking like, okay, if that's what got him fired, I don't see why that's a big deal. But that's not what gets this man fired. Well, not fired, but demoted. No, what ends up happening is, after he pegs this dude in the arm, the bank teller grabs the gun, and the girl holds the friggin' gun up to Haru, and I'm thinking like, whoa, what the hell? And even Haru has that reaction of like, whoa, what? Like, and he's put in this position where like all of a sudden he has to fire on a civilian, and he actually, like, from what I can tell, kills this girl, and it's like, damn, because you're put in a position where it's life or death, right? This girl draws a gun on you, and she's clearly hysterical. Like, she's like shaking as she's holding the gun and pointing right at Haru. Maybe there was a way around it, like maybe, but like she's pointing directly at him, he's pointing directly at her. The only other place he could hit was pretty much where he hit, which is poof, right in the chest. It sucks. Like, that's rough, man. And like, you feel how shook Haru is by this. Like, he's distraught by this. And this ends up getting him demoted from the 1st Division down to the Modern Crime Prevention Task Force. You see him like packing up his stuff after this scene. And this paints Haru's past, sort of actions the last 2 episodes before this in a very different light. If this was meant to make me feel like Hoshino was in the right, though, it failed. Because if anything, it just made me feel worse for Haru. I can understand why Hoshino's upset, because to him it's like, you opened fire on a civilian, you got yourself demoted, like you acted irresponsibly and reckless, except we did see Hoshino react like to Haru jumping across the 2 buildings. He was excited by that. So I think maybe I don't know what Hoshino's deal is. Like, I really don't. Like, he just seems like now maybe he's kind of on a high horse. A little bit, like he feels slightly better than. I don't know, that's just my guess. What do you guys think of Hoshino? That's a good one for the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But eventually the flashback ends and we cut to Haru basically leaving the station, and this is where I mentioned that it's important that Haru notes the streaming stuff, right? So Haru's leaving, and he can't help but notice that there is this promo campaign going on. As he's leaving, and he's all bummed out, right? He's like, oh, he's down at the dumps because the 1st Division told him to hightail it out of there. So he's feeling a little bit emasculated. And as he's leaving, he hears these 2 dudes like talking about how like, oh man, like, is that the reason why the station's closed? Like, yeah, it's got to be the same thing. It's all over chain tube right now. And then as Haru passes them, he overhears them say that right now there is a promo campaign on ChainTube where you get, and I quote here, 1 million coins for 10 million views in one day. So if you manage to reach 10 million views, you will get 100 million coins. What are coins? I don't know. Maybe they're Bitcoins. I don't friggin' know. I don't know what the coins are, but I assume you can change that currency into cash. I don't know. But regardless, it's just there to show, like, yeah, like there is a reason why this boy be streaming, because if you hit 10 million views, you'll get all that money. And let's be real, that would get a lot of views, wouldn't it? Like, it's dark and sad to say, but I can't see 10 million people tuning in for that if there was a dude like rigging a hostage situation. that probably would get a lot of views, which is disturbing and gross and sad, but it is the case. And it's kind of despicable of Coconut Head to be pulling that, but eventually we will find out why. And it sort of makes it a little bit easier to swallow. But yeah, that is the basic idea, is that the man is streaming specifically to try to reach that 10 million views marker. And again, if you are playing detective at home, you can probably already guess what's going on in the episode by that point. But speaking of detective, this is where we bump back into Daisuke, who still seems pretty salty about the whole, like, senior thing. Like, Daisuke's, again, just flooring it down the road, as you know, Haru tells him to knock it the hell off. But Daisuke's just like, oh no, I can't wait to learn from my senior. How's things going? Like, how's, like, life for a great detective, huh? Like, you could tell he's a little bit salty. And, man, I miss this dynamic. I miss these two just solving crimes. Yeah, these two immediately, like, just, like, the chemistry be back, like, within an instant. And, yeah, they pretty much, like, almost immediately get to work. Like, right after leaving the station, Daisuke tells Haru to get in the car. They get in the car and they start to drive. And, as they're driving, they use Hugh to sort of patch into the police, radio, right? And as they're patched in, they overhear what the current plan is from the police, and the plan is to execute Coconut Head for potentially killing one of the women. Now, we know that that's not what happened. Like, we know that, like, by the end of the episode, we know that A, Coconut Head wouldn't do that, and B, we know because of the end of the episode she's passed out. But the cops don't know that. They just see a body on the ground. So, of course, with the body on the ground and a hostage situation going on, of course they think that Coconut Head killed somebody. So once that's gone on, once you get to a point where he's already, in their mind, executing hostages, then yeah, you're going to have to take that guy out. I'm not necessarily blaming the police on this one. I think the police in Balance Unlimited so far have been acting pretty much according to plan, unless your name is Daisuke or Haru. But everybody in the police force thus far have been acting properly, I suppose. But upon hearing this, Haru right away is like, I can't, like, that can't happen. That kid wouldn't kill anybody. Like, I know this. Like, I talked to him. There's no way. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but he definitely wouldn't kill anybody. We have to do something. We have to stop this. Otherwise, they'll kill him for, like, and he doesn't deserve that. We got to do something. So, of course, Daisuke immediately is like, all right, let's do this. And Daisuke's cash, man. Daisuke got, like, Daisuke's drip is so strong that he literally can save the day with nothing but cash. Like, my man just throws cash at the problem till it goes away. And, like, when you think about it, it does come in handy, right? Like, you have the, like, patching into the police radio. You have grappling hooks. You have him gaining info on passengers within the train, and that is going to be important later. Again, another thing to keep in the back of your mind. The man can activate smoke screens from missiles that launch out of his car and pay for the damages to the train and the station surrounding it by double. And to get into the train, he has a handheld flamethrower. My boy, my husbando Daisuke. As I've said before, this man is triple S tier, and he got the funds to back it up. But yeah, they do infiltrate the train, even after being told by Hoshino that Haru has no right to be a cop anymore. Even though, again, Hoshino is about to do the same thing. Like, Hoshino, I think, is upset with Haru because he killed somebody when there could have been a way out of it. Whereas he's about to do the exact same thing, and maybe that's why he thanks Daisuke later. Like, maybe we'll see a change in Hoshino after this particular, I don't want to say mystery, but after this incident, you know. We'll see. I don't know. But, yeah, this pretty much leads to them, like, getting into the train car, because, again, Daisuke uses that little handheld flamethrower to just cut a perfect circle in the front end of the train, like where the window is, and they sneak in. And Haru gets spotted on stream, right? He doesn't get spotted by Coconut Head. He just gets spotted on stream. And Take, who I believe is the chief of police. Chief Take catches Haru on stream, right? And so he patches in and he goes, Haru, like, what the hell you doing? And Haru's just like, Chief, I'm gonna end this. You just gotta trust me, okay? And the Chief's like, no. Okay, listen to me. Here's what you're gonna do. I need you to get your gun ready, and when I tell you, you're gonna shoot. Because now that your stupid smoke screen's in the way, the snipers don't got a visual anymore, so you're gonna have to shoot when I tell you. And Haru's like, all right. And Haru's definitely, like, shaken by this. And he tells Kanbei, like, open the door when I tell you to. And Daisuke seems like sort of like, oh, shit, all right. Like, Daisuke does hand him the gun, right? He's like, all right, like, if you gotta do it, then you gotta do it. But when Daisuke opens the door for Haru, and when I say open the door, I mean he kicks that shit down, Haru basically just talks to him, which is like, thank you. That's all the kid needed. Like, he just needed, like, a little bit. Maybe he needed the backup of Hoshino to kind of put the kid a little bit more on the stress level so that he'll listen to Haru. But yeah, he basically just talks to the kid and explains, like, you really think your sister would be happy with what you're doing? And this is where we reveal that Haru knows, right? Haru basically runs down what's going on with this kid, saying, like, I know why you're streaming. It's because you're trying to get money to get your sister's surgery, and that's why you guys are going to America, isn't it? And the kid's like, shit. I guess the kid's like, he figured me out. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because again, given like how we met the kid, and that like the kid had no reason to put on a front in that moment, so that was the kid's personality. It makes sense for this to be happening instead of him just being a crazy person. You know what I mean? But you know what? Enough is enough at this point. I've had enough. I've had too much fun, awesome action. And now, I need a J-pop band in my life. And you know who feels the exact same way? The ladies of the train. These ladies say screw this, and begin chanting heave ho at Coconut Head in a very intimidating scene, when all of a sudden, the song Heave Ho by Yokoites, again, I'm making assumptions here, because I don't know the world of Bounce Unlimited's J-pop groups, but yeah, the Yokoites sing Heave Ho as the characters on the train are saying Heave Ho, which is apparently a song by the Yokoites. And they suddenly appear on a scaffold outside, like on a building outside where the train is. And again, the reason why I said it's important to remember that Daisuke had all the info on those people, he knew where they were heading, so called in the Yokoites to, like, obviously using that unlimited budget, to call them in and have them do a show on a scaffold to get the attention of all the grannies in a big distraction moment so that Haru can manage to calm this dude down. Again, shockingly clever move by Daisuke. And in this moment, right, you see the girl who was passed out on the floor, who everybody thought was dead, she springs back to life when she hears the Yokoites, because she wasn't dead at all. She just seemingly passed out. And whether that means that Coconut Head hit her on the head to knock her out, or whether that means she just passed out from shock, who knows? But whatever happened, the sight and sounds of the Yokoites is enough to sort of bring her back to life, and also make Hoshino realize, because there's a scuffle, where he realizes that the gun that Coconut Head was a model gun. He wasn't actually planning on killing anybody. So the gun was totally fake the whole time. But Hoshino does lose his gun in the process, and Coconut Head does make a reach for the gun, but Daisuke appears, and he just sort of very coolly walks up to the dude, like very calm, right? And the guy's like, back up, dude. Like Coconut Head tells him, like, back up. And Daisuke says, like, listen, man, you don't gotta do this. There's no need for this. You're under arrest, okay? You're under arrest for like disturbing the peace and causing bodily harm. Like, you're under arrest now. It's over. And the kid's like, no. I just need a couple more. I just need like one more, like I just need a few more views and I'll be able to get the money to pay for my sister's surgery. Please just hold on for like a second. And Daisuke's like, you don't gotta do that. I fully intend to pay for your sister's surgery, like I promise. It's like, goddamn, Daisuke. Like, and again, I do think that this is basically what Grandma Kanbei wanted. Like, Granny Kanbei saying, like, you should be learning from Haru. I do think Daisuke is kind of learning from Haru. Like, he is being Like, that's something Haru would do if he had the money, you know. He would say some shit like, I'll pay for the surgery, I promise. Just put the gun down. You're under arrest. Just come with us. Put the gun down, come with us, let everybody walk out of here. Right? Let those grannies enjoy their concert, damn it. Like, that's basically what he says here. And it's funny too, because like, this dude could have very easily shot Daisuke in the face. Like, this could have been the end of Balance Unlimited right there, right? But like, to the point where even Haru says like, how did you know he wasn't gonna shoot you? And Daisuke says like, you said he wouldn't kill anybody, so I trusted you. And it's like, oh shit. You see that bond already forming? Episode 3, and the bond's already forming. I'm already getting emotional. This show is already too short. But yeah, that's a great scene. The fact that Daisuke says like, you said he wouldn't kill anybody. And it's just the fact that Daisuke trusted this man. It's great. And you know what else I appreciate is that this episode does end on a happy note, right? Chief Take walks up to Haru and says like, hey, good job. It's like, hey, good shit. Like, and it's not like Chief says it like begrudgingly. He's smiling when he says it. He's like, Haru, good work. It's like, yeah. And Haru gets like his little moment to be like, oh shit, okay. And even Hoshino says like, it's Kanbei, right? Daisuke Kanbei? Listen, thank you. And Daisuke just says nothing because he's like, he ain't got no time for Hoshino's bullshit. But I do think maybe Daisuke will have taught Hoshino a lesson, like the idea that you almost did the same thing, like you almost killed this kid when there was no reason for it. The same thing that I assume you're mad at Haru for. So, yeah, I don't know. All I know is Daisuke's back, Haru's back, Balance Unlimited is back, and I am a very happy lad. But with that said, everybody, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts here. Oh my god, it's back. I'm so thankful, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all of these beautiful names. And hey, if you too would like to join these beautiful people, then be sure to check out that first link in the description and check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can help keep this channel afloat, and I would sincerely appreciate it. But with that said, everybody, I am, no joke, probably going to go rewatch that episode again for the 3rd time. But until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.